YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Warhammer, where we're going to be doing some Beastmen online play. My first one here is going to be against the Greenskins. So, building an army can be rather time-consuming now in quick battle, so I highly suggest you build armies before you ever enter the battlefield. Now, this is a somewhat cheesy army here where I'm like, you know what, let's just tank up on the best units the Beastmen have to offer, which is Minotaurs, and then basically I bring a lore of Beast Shaman only to spawn a feral Manticore just so I have a flying unit. And then I bring Malagor the Dark Omen only to spawn a Cygor, and I really don't care what else he does. I did bring one of his direct damage spells, and then I've got basically all my... I've got two Gorherds, and then I've got 4 Minotaurs. You can see I'm already spawning the feral Manticore. So pretty cool, pretty nasty looking unit there. So I'm going to use that to hopefully get rear charges and harass enemy skirmishers or anything else. Like I said, my Minotaurs are going to be the killing power. These guys are good against armor. Really solid charge and everything like that. I mean, obviously, if you come with big giant beast legs and horns and everything else, it's going to get kind of ugly. So relatively small army here. So what would be a potential counter to what I have here? I'm thinking if the Greenskins use the lore of the Little Wa and buff up their men real well, and bring the right units like Biggins and maybe a Black Orc or two, they can probably outlast me. And then I also don't really have any cavalry per se. I'm relying on elite heavy damage units like this gorbull, the Minotaurs, Gorherds. So I mean, I've gone all out in terms of like the best quality that I can field. I can already see a greenskin wolf rider that's moving around, or a goblin wolf rider that's moving around the field. I kind of move up to this point and I decide that it's time to use Malagor to spawn a Cygor. So here he comes. So Cygor is going to enter the battlefield. This guy is actually a pretty useful artillery unit against infantry. So if someone goes infantry heavy, he can be pretty good. And in terms of an artillery unit, he can take a lot more pounding than a typical artillery unit, and he's a lot more mobile than a typical artillery unit. Now the downside is I would imagine he could be harassed something fierce by quick-moving missile units, as he can't target that quick, so that would be just my guess. But very long range, plenty of splash damage when he hits. I do have one Gorherd, just to, I don't know, just for whatever. Gorbull, though, and again, Gorbull for President 2016, don't forget, he's running on the Destroy All Humans platform. Yeah, so vote Gorbull. Anyway, oh jeez. Here comes the giant rock being lobbed by the Cygor. Actually lands just a little bit short of the Black Orcs. My opponent has gone with kind of an odd greenskin build. It's a ton of Black Orcs. There's 7 of them that I can see here, and then in the back, 3 Savage Orc Biggins, and then Grimgore Ironhide. So yeah, here I get a very direct hit with the Cygor, and it is pretty damaging. So again, the Cygor, when he lands a hit on infantry, is going to be devastating. I've got my gorbull, and of course, as far as the items I put on him, I made sure to only bring the necessities. A couple of buffs for him, and then both of the items that give him a healing potion. So I want him to be able to last as long as possible in the fight. And then as for Malagor and my other wizard, I didn't spend anything extra on them. They're just throwaway at that point. I'm using them to spawn free monster units. I say free. It cost me for Malagor, and then it cost me wins at Magic, but I'm banking that that will be worth it in the end. So I've got my Gorherds. These guys are going to get absolutely slaughtered by Black Orcs, but I'm going to let this fight go, and then I've got my Minotaurs ready to back it up. And my Cygor has caused some pretty significant damage to the Black Orcs before this even starts. He's doing a great job. So here comes my Gorherd. Here comes my Gorbull going in, and then here comes my Minotaurs as well. And you know, they're going to do pretty well here at causing some just major shock and damage on the... I mean, just these are Black Orcs, folks. Look what these guys are doing to Black Orcs. Wow, right in the middle of my own men there, too. The Cygor, and I've brought the... I'm bringing the Manticore in for a rear charge here, too. Sorry, I'm trying to get the right view. So, yeah, I've got the Manticore in there, and I'm using the direct damage spell on all the Black Orcs in this vicinity. And it's causing a lot of damage. So the Black Orcs are suffering wildly right here in the center, and they're going down very, very quickly. They're starting to fight back my Minotaurs over here. Just on the charge, the Minotaurs do a ton of damage, but in the long run, I'm pretty sure the Black Orcs would probably tank out that fight just due to numbers. but I could be wrong. And they also have defensive stats on their side. You got all these Savage Orc Biggins out here who would also do pretty well against the Minotaurs, but I've caused so much damage to the center of the Orc army that it's already looking pretty bad. So right here we're just trying to take out Grimgor, and Grimgor was getting knocked around, and my opponent decided to admit defeat. Didn't think that he had a chance to pull that off, I guess. Think he quit just a little bit early, but I do think that I had him on the ropes. Again, I was scared of Biggins, and if Biggins were being supported by the lore of the Little Wa with like Itchy Nuisance and the Stabba, like Sneaky Stabba, or Here We Go and the Wa on Grimgor, if all that's used together, the Orc infantry could cause an absurd amount of damage to my men, and I think that it would have served them well. So probably a few less Black Orcs, diversify it up a little bit, and just kind of go from there might be the better idea, or to get some throwaway units to take the charge of the Minotaurs. I do have another battle with the Beastmen. Let's jump into that one. This one's going to be against the Dwarves. I've been looking forward to trying the Dwarves after this patch because they've had some interesting things happen for them. I don't know that they're all of a sudden good. I just wanted to try them. So this army, I've got 2 gorbulls. Once again, the lore of Beast, and then I've got the lore of the Wild with Malagor. So again, I'm planning on spawning a Cygor and a Feral Manticore. I'm going to be weak to gyrocopters with this army. I have 2 Razor Warherds because I want to try them out. I've got 2 Chaos Warhounds hiding somewhere around here. I can't even remember where I put them. I don't know. There's Chaos War. Oh, they're on the back of the map over there. So I got them hidden on the back of the map. And so I was just thinking to myself, as long as he doesn't bring gyros. Yeah, he brings gyros. So immediately I start splitting up all my different units, and I want to run in different directions to make it hard for him to have something to shoot at. I've spawned the Manticore, and I'm going to send the Manticore in on a kill mission against the gyrocopters. The unfortunate thing is the Manticore can't keep up, but I can at least use him as a distraction. So I was able to spawn him with just magic, and if I can use him to keep the gyrocopters off my case even part of this battle, it will give me the opportunity to potentially win. But the Manticore is not very fast, so again, not going to be an easy catch if I catch them at all. I'm starting to surround the Dwarves, but in a very crafty decision, the Dwarf player sees that there is unpassable terrain here, and he comes and gets his Dwarves with their back up against the wall where I can't outflank them with all the Minotaurs and Razor Gore herds. Now, the only downside to his strategy is that I can spawn a Cygor, and I do spawn a Cygor, so if he sits there with his back against the rocks, he doesn't have any artillery, and my Cygor is going to lob giant boulders at him until all the Dwarfs are dead. But let's go check out his army. He's got a mix of Longbeards, he's got some Dwarf Warriors, he has a couple of units of Slayers. Interestingly enough, he's got a Iron Drake with Trollhammer Torpedo, he's got Ungrim, and he's got a regular Iron Drake here with the Flamethrower. So interesting army. He's even got a Thane over here too. Let's check out the Thane. He's got the Potion of Healing, and I think the Potion of Toughness as well. So he's going to be able to heal himself a couple of times, but so are both of my Gorbulls. So my Gorbulls are meant to be doing insane charge damage and shock and supporting the units around them, because Gorbulls have like kind of some passive abilities that can support units around them that I like. So I use them to kind of support it. But this time, rather than having a big line of Minotaurs, I've only got, I believe, one of them. And I bring a huge line of cheap Ungor herd, which are basically just cheap axe infantry. So they look like the dudes from Chronicles of Narnia gone bad. That's pretty much the straightforward. This map is pretty. Looks nice. If I could quit scrolling under it, because the camera on this what do I call it? The unlocked camera, or whatever you call it. I can't remember the name of it right now, the one I'm using. But basically, if you go in and mod the preference script, you can use it. Debug camera, that's what it's called. So yeah, my Manticore is still chasing around the gyrocopters. Very intelligently, the Dwarf player is going after my Cygor. This is exactly what he should do, because if he can kill my Cygor, he can camp. And while he's camped up against that rock, all of my units that rely on charges and shock and all that kind of stuff are going to suffer. So I have to do my best to just keep the Manticore after these gyrocopters and keep them broken up and keep them off my Cygor for as long as possible, so that I can force the Dwarves to break up. Also, as I moved past my opponent in this big blob here, he could have attacked me and potentially bunched me up with the terrain here, and may not have been a bad plan, but he was very worried about my Razor Gore and my Minotaurs and my gorbull, and he should have been, because if they got into the back of that group, they would be absolutely devastating. I was able to kill one gyrocopter with the feral Manticore, and I'm chasing some of the rest around. And I'm going to start using my Cygor to tell the dwarves that it's time to come out and play, and if they don't want to play, then they're going to get smashed. So you can see right there, just massive damage to the dwarf infantry units. This guy is all business. So 7 kills on the very first throw there, did a lot of damage. He's going to try and get another throw off, and again you can see that the Cygor constantly being mauled by the gyrocopters. Like I said, I believe it's a very good choice. The Dwarf Warriors charge in. I'm going to bring in my Bull. I forgot to charge here, unfortunately, but they're going to all focus in on my Gorbull, who is meant to be a hit point sponge and a damage dealer, and I'm going to come flanking in with the Ungor-Herd. The Ungor-Herd are no match for Dwarf Warriors in and of themselves, but coming in like this, they should be able to do some good damage on the charge and hold out. There are Slayers coming in, which is a bit concerning towards any unit that's considered large. Slayers have been changed a little bit in this patch as well. So check this out, the flamethrower Iron Drakes burning up my Ungor-Herd here. Fortunately for me, it was a rather cheap target, but still, they're going to be getting a lot of damage done, even with just a couple of hits there. Actually, it's not near as significant as I thought, so good for me. The Thane's going to get into me, but I have the Gorbull and the other units moved in over here too, and I'm going to try and open up a flank on the Dwarf and get to his Iron Drakes, both types of Iron Drakes. I've got my Chaos Warhounds just waiting for a target of opportunity since they're not any good right now. My Cygor gets swamped. This is unfortunate. He'll get a few kills on these dwarves, but the Slayers will kill him. You can see that he has great splash damage, though. So he's going to cause a little bit of damage here to the Slayers. Not much. They're going to absolutely destroy him. I'm bringing one more unit of Ungor over here just to kind of hold up the Slayers. And this blob right here, my Gorbull, along with the Ungor-Herd, are pounding the snot out of the dwarves, despite their best efforts. And over here, the Thane is swamped at the moment, and then I've got my my Razor Gores who do good damage against armor, and all my other units. Here comes the Manticore flying down and chomping on the Iron Drakes. These Iron Drakes make a run for it, trying to get out to open ground. You can see the Manticore now under attack from the gyrocopters, but my Minotaurs over here, along with the Razor Gore herd, causing a lot of damage. As soon as these Iron Drakes got out of the fight, my Chaos Warhounds smelled them out, and they're going to come running in to make sure that these guys don't get to be useful. So the Chaos Warhound's coming in handy, but again, you can see the gyrocopters here probably going to be able to finish off my Feral Manticore, but the damage being done here by the Gorbull and the Razor Gore and everything else is significant. I've got a lot of armor-piercing damage, and the Dwarves are mainly defensive, so they're not able to deal a ton of damage to my men in return. Some bombs coming off the copters there, and actually scores them a lot of kills. The bombs have been buffed in the last patch, so 44 kills, 41 and 21. So the bomb's definitely worth it. Breaks up my Ungor herd. Very cool there. Nice use by the Dwarf player. And this fight over here is closer, but the Dwarf Warriors are getting beat, and the Slayers are kind of slowly getting cut down, and I have reserves here as needed. And I've just got my Brace Shaman standing nearby trying to boost morale, and I've been using the heal potions on my Gorbull as necessary. My Feral Manticore ended up over here somehow too, which that was a mistake. I let it get kind of distracted. But this blob over here gets absolutely torn up by all my armor-piercing units, and I'm able to bust through the dwarves here. So they're not able to do enough damage to my men. I got all these units chasing people down, and my Ungor herd and other stuff here just keeping the dwarves busy as well. So that means that this is really the fight of interest. My Gorbull does start to get overwhelmed with all the units here. You can see my Manticore routes is going to be fleeing the battlefield. And he's also managed to take Malagor out, or if he hasn't, he's about to. Yeah, so Malagor's over here, and now he's the focus of the gyrocopter. So this is another smart move by the Dwarf player. If he can try and get my leader off the battlefield more quickly, it'll help him. But over here, my Gorbull and the Minotaurs have Ungrim Iron Fist pinned down along with some infantry, and Ungrim is going to be getting tossed all over the place by these giant units. So he's definitely going to be suffering here. So you can see between the Minotaurs and the Gorbull, he has definitely got his work cut out for him. He's a tough unit, but he's in a very tough situation. The Gorbull does some pretty nice damage. And like I said, I have healing potions. You can see this Gorbull has healed himself. He's up to 68 kills. So he's just tanking it out versus the Slayers, making himself very effective over here. The Thane has the same thing, though. So you can see the Thane has healed as well. And so I actually kind of like that because it makes your heroes last longer, and when they last longer, the battle lasts longer. So look at this. Look how long the fight's lasting compared to a normal Warhammer game, because the heroes here are helping keep the morale shored up for the cheaper units. Yeah, you can see Manticore getting shot off the battlefield. Check it out. His Iron Drakes get free here and start pouring some flamethrower into my gorbull, and it actually hurts him pretty bad. Really bad. Check out the gorbull there flipping dwarves around. So I'm out of healing potions on this gorbull, and he's getting a little bit beat up. But I know that I need to get to these Iron Drakes as well. So I've got these Razor Gore trying to cut their way, or maybe it's Warhounds. I can't remember. I've got a unit coming over to try and deal with the Iron Drakes. Here comes Longbeards having regrouped, but I mean, check out this gorbull. No giving up for this guy. It looks like, okay, I just now used his last healing potion, Deadly Onslaught. He's getting a lot of kills. 88 kills is pretty substantial. He's just able to hold out. Now my Minotaurs and other units have almost finished killing Ungrim Iron Fist. He's about to drop for good. Here comes my Razor Gore herd, and they have the eyes on these Iron Drakes, and so the Iron Drakes are going to get eaten up by the Razor Gore. See the Thane here chasing after, or no, he's chasing after them. So the Gyrocopter's coming down to take out the Razor Gore herd, and they are definitely successful in doing that. But at this point, I've got the dwarf player overwhelmed. Their general is dead, so the only thing they have left to attack is the Gyrocopters, and they've been firing the whole fight. They are now out of ammunition. They did do very well, and it was a very good pick against the Beastmen because there is limited recourse that the Beastmen have against Gyrocopters. But I was able to do so much damage to his ground units that ended up paying off here. I think that if he may have saved some money on the Slayers and brought some Quarrelers or something like that instead, I think this would have been much more difficult for me. The Gorbull does have good armor, but he's huge and he stands out like a sore thumb, and so do the Minotaurs or Minotaurs. And they would be very vulnerable to the Quarrelers, so even if they could be kept safe for a short time, it ends up being worth it. I like to see someone bringing something different and trying the Iron Drakes and other stuff like that, but I'm still thinking that maybe one Iron Drake unit, and again, bring a couple of Quarrelers, and that whole army all of a sudden, in my mind, becomes much more dangerous. And it is kind of risky to bring a lot of artillery versus the Beastmen, unless you can protect it, because the Beastmen can Vanguard deploy. So I think the Beastmen have several options. You can do a lot of Vanguard deploy and try and surround an enemy, or you can try and do a lot of heavy monster work like I did here, which was with all the Gorbulls and stuff. One of my Gorbulls did extremely well. Other one did really well. He doesn't have a ton of kills, but he killed some pretty high quality units. And then the Bray Shaman, again, was just used to raise the Manticore, and the Manticore kept the Gyrocopters busy for as long as possible. Gyrocopters got some work done, though. It was no joke. Razor Gore herd, okay. Nothing great from these guys. Minotaur's definitely doing well. They gained an experience chevron, and they got 56 kills. The Ungor herd, not really doing much. No big surprise. These guys are kind of here more as a meat shield to let my big bad units do most of the pounding. And again, Chaos Warhounds were more of a utility unit in case I was having to try and chase down Quarrelers, because I knew that was a real potential. So you could bring some archers to help try and counter the Gyrocopters, and that may not be a bad idea. The Ungor Raiders don't cost that much and could be a worthwhile addition. You could save some money by not bringing the Razor Gore herds. They did do some work for me here, but again, that's just one option. You can see the Thanes here getting a fairly respectable number of kills as well because of the healing potion. So again, some of these units all of a sudden being made useful, whereas they weren't previously useful. So I like the changes. I definitely want to keep trying it out. I don't know how fair or balanced it is, and Creative Assembly is asking us for feedback, so make sure to go hit the forums with your feedback. So let's keep giving them feedback on this new item and ability system, and let's make it better and hopefully get it expanded, and it'll really do some wonders for the multiplayer in Total War if we can get something like this going. Hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out for now.